What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, C-Zar Gets Crypto, and we are talking about Bitcoin Cash today. I want to say hello to everybody who's subscribed to the channel, everybody who's watching. Hello. I've got a lot of new subscribers. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate the faith that you have in me, or the interest, whatever it is. Maybe you're all bots and you're just trying to scam the genuine, honest people who are here. I don't know, but I appreciate watching the numbers on the channel grow. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. Without any further ado of that, let's look at Bitcoin Cash. Let's take a look at it here. So on the 4 hour we go. I want to look at the price first and foremost. If we take a fib from the most relative top to the most relative low, from first glance, I don't like it. I don't like it necessarily, but there's still time to make it likable. It could, all it has to do really is keep going. If you turn around from here, what this is gonna look like is you're rejecting the 382. You wicked above it, you closed right at it, and if you turn around from here, which again, there's 3 hours 42 minutes left in this 4 hour candle. It looks like we're red now, but this could flip to the bull. I mean, look, we had a wick to the downside here, went up. We had a pretty wick to the downside here, came back up, and then off. Same thing over here. Wick to the downside, up. Anyways, it doesn't have to be bad. But if we don't get continuation up, if we can't get a 4 hour to close above this, if in fact we get a 4 hour to close lower than the open of this and the close of this, I would say that it's condemning that we are going to see some kind of extension from low to high here. Those extensions are anywhere from 240 to 222, and with this being such a small fib to measure, it wouldn't surprise me if we saw deeper extensions in the twos, maybe even the threes. That 3618 is right around 180, which I think is crazy. That's kind of like the high range of where I'm buying Bitcoin Cash. That's where I have my buy orders. If it's not obvious already, I am bearish. I am definitely bearish on Bitcoin Cash in the short term. Bullish overall. I think it's a great thing. I think it's going to do great. It'll be worth tens of thousands of dollars probably by the end of this next bull market. If not, at least, I think at least like 13,000, man. Honestly, I think at least 13,000. But likely higher than that. But right now, rejecting this 382 like this does not look good. I don't like the look of it. If we're looking at the 4 hour RSI, I mean, you're a little bit above the 50, which is nice. You got above the 50. That's a good thing. Here, you went from the top here. You came down below the 50, bounced right off it. So you could totally bounce off of this area to the downside. Just because you're below the 50 does not mean it's time to continue going down. Just because you're above the 50 does not mean it's time to continue going up. In fact, I don't know. Like here, you went above the 50 so slightly and then went lower, right? Here you went below the 50 so slightly and then you went higher. So I don't know. This is pretty common behavior, I guess, for Bitcoin Cash. And I really do think it goes lower, man. I honestly do think it goes lower. RSI looks weak. It looks weak. If we look at this move, it actually kind of it bears a lot of resemblance, right, to this move. It kind of does, right? They look similar. They look similar. The difference is, here, we'll point out the differences. Let's go. From bottom to top, 15% of a move. And this one, the difference is 13%. So they're 2% difference. This one's smaller or weaker. If it's done, it could still go higher, right? But if it's done, and I would say this move is done if we get a close below this open and this close here, which is right around 271. If we get a 4 hour that closes below that before getting one that closes above this close, I would say that would mean this is probably the top. Generally, I wouldn't go off of that. Don't use that as a rule. Nothing like this immediate, but just with what's going on, I would think so. This is close enough to these closing periods and opening periods. I would say anything if we get a close below like 271.50, very likely this is a relative top, and what you're going to see is a high, a low, a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, a lower high. What are you going to see next? A lower low, probably. Again, if you get a 4 hour close, which I think we will get below about 271.5. Another thing that's different about this move compared to this move is you had a bounce off the 50 here to the upside, where now you might be having a bounce off the 50 to the downside. So you've got a weaker move up and showing weaker signs in the RSI. Actually, the weakest signs in the RSI that we have seen. This is the weakest that the RSI has been since this bottom over here. Do you think with all that in mind, that this is going to bear fruit, that this pump is going to bear fruit, I don't. I really don't. I think that it's going to bear more fruit to the downside. If this is what we got off of a pump off the 50, I don't want to know what we're going to get with the rejection off the 50. You know, it's probably, I mean, there's a 15% move up, a 15% move down from top to bottom. That puts us right around like 240, which I think is where the 1272 is. Yeah, the 1272 is at like 240. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense, but I do think that we go lower than that. Ultimately. Yeah, you know, this day looks very bullish. You had a nice wick to the upside. Or I guess from the downside, you came down, you closed this. This is a bullish doji candle. You know, the last time you had something with a big wick to the downside, you went up. But let's see, you know, I don't know. Here you had a wick to the upside and you went down. Wick to the downside went up. Wick to the upside went down, you know. It's a good sign. It's definitely a good sign. I can't find anything. I guess here you had a bearish wick, but you still went up. Bearish wick, you still went up. Bearish wick, you still went up. Bullish wick, and you went down. Bullish wick, you did go up a little bit, but you went down. I don't know. I guess this is kind of more what I'm looking at, right? Just because you have a bullish wick doesn't mean that you can't inevitably go down. Maybe it takes some time, but I do think with the way the 4 hours looking, it wouldn't be surprising if this day closed red. I did say that this day would close red, and it did. I was right by 0.1%, baby. That's not a red day, man. That's a neutral day. I did say that the day would close red, and I was thinking that it would close more than a 6.6% move. I was saying that it'd probably be bigger than this candle. To be fair, from an opening point to a low point, it went down 8%. But it didn't close that low, so I'm not going to toot my horn on this. I thought it would close lower than this, but it came back up again. I think this is just a bull trap, just like how this was a bull trap. I think this is a short-term little bull trap. They even look similar, man. The only difference is, again, this is a weaker bull trap. There's less strength in the bulls. There's less volume. It looks like there's less volume over here, but look at the histogram. These readings are higher than these readings. It's overall just a weaker move. In very many aspects, it's a weaker move. I will end this kind of thought. I'm not going to end the video. I want to talk about something else after this, but I will end this kind of shorter term thought with this. I do expect that we're going to go below the 382, which is at $201. I just heard something, but everything's fine. Sounded like something slammed. Yeah, all right. $201. We could go, and I do think that we're going to go below that, actually. Maybe we go to about 148. I'm sorry, guys. I got messed up here. From bottom to top here, this fib, I would expect that we at least break this 382. And the reason for that is because, anytime that we've had a significant move from bottom to top on Bitcoin Cash, it's always gone below the 382. And sometimes it's held right above the 0.5, but oftentimes it actually goes through it to the 618, the 0.69, the 786, and even the 886. So I do think that we go lower from here. How much lower? I don't know. It might seem like a lot, but it really isn't, man. For Bitcoin Cash, after having the weeks it did, maybe we go 30% lower from here. Maybe we go as much as, 60% would be a lot. I don't know if we get that. It's possible. It's possible. But a 618, about a 45% move from here, that's totally possible too. And in fact, I have my buy orders set anywhere from like 180 to 145. I have them layered out through there. So that's my kind of expectation at the moment. Let's see here. Yeah. Now the thing I did want to talk about, besides the immediate term, what I do want to talk about is where is this thing ultimately going to go, to the top side? Like where is it going to go? And I don't know if anybody knows exactly where it's going to go. If anybody says that they know exactly where it's going to go, they have a crystal ball or they're lying to you. And it's probably more likely the second one. Because nobody knows, man. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Sorry, there's noises going on, man. Yeah, anyways, from top to bottom here, if we were to see extensions ultimately, which I think this is a pretty good one to go off of, from all-time highs to all-time lows, if we were to see extensions off of this, we would go anywhere at a minimum of 13,000. That's where I got that from, right? So even there's a strong likelihood that we go to 53,000, and this would all be potentially within this next cycle. This is on the monthly time frame, so it does take a long time. This is all the way back in 2017. It does take a long time to form, but ultimately, I am expecting that we break the 618 and we move on to the extensions. What would be very indicative, besides just belief that we're going to see these extensions inevitably, besides just belief, what would be very indicative of that in the charts would be breaking this 618 at $907. We don't have to break it on the first pass, although technically we did break it on the first pass here. We even went above it, but then rejected it and came back below. At the moment, just with the way this looks, I would expect that the 618 at $907 does not hold resistance. I bet maybe for a day or two it does, but on a monthly basis, I bet we close above it, man. And when we do that, we'll probably come back down, test support, and then go from there. But that's all speculation. That's months away, at least probably. But where could we end up potentially by the end of this year? I see a lot of people talking about the end of the year predictions for Bitcoin Cash. Everyone's got different assumptions as to where that could go. Where could we go by January 1st, 2024? By the end of 2023, where could we be? If we look here, first off, let's look at where we were anytime. Let's see. So right here in December of 2017, its first year of existence, technically, as its own chain, it topped. December of the following year, it bottomed. December of the following year, it didn't bottom, but it started to go up in January that next year there, or literally technically the following year. This January here, by the end of the year, it was in the middle of its run, and this one here is in the middle of its run down. This one here, it had a little pop. So, but still in the middle of this overall downtrend. So you had 2 times in December where you were at very key points. Every other time you're kind of in the middle of other moves, right? So to be fair, that's kind of my expectation. Before I even kind of looked at that, that's kind of my expectation that by the end of this year, wherever we top at, whether it's at $10,000, $1,000, $500, wherever we top at, it will probably not be the end of this move. It's. I would bet my money, and I am betting my money, that's not going to be the end of this move. Maybe we take a temporary reprieve, right? Maybe we go, take a little reprieve and then go up or something like that. I don't think it'll be like this. I don't think it'll be long lagged like that. But ultimately, I think that by the time we see the end of this year, wherever we end up, it's going to be about halfway through, if not less than that or more than that. But it's not going to be the end of the move. That's my expectation. So, how far have we moved up from bottom to high before? From low to high, 2,000%. That's the first major pump. So that's might not be something to take into consideration. From bottom to high here, 600%. Bottom to high here, 1,100%. And this one, I guess, but not really. I don't know. 192. I don't know. I don't know if I like that one. These are more significant ones. At the moment, from bottom to top, we are experiencing a 279% gain, right? Out of all of these moves, this move here had the biggest monthly gain, 218%. This move here had the second biggest monthly gain, 168%. Right here, 84%. Nothing else came close to this other than the very first half year that Bitcoin Cash technically existed as its own blockchain. So, do you expect what I expect, that 278% from bottom to high is where it stops? I don't think so. That to me would seem unrealistic. 600% as a minimum, that would put us around $614. 1,100% would put us around about $1,000, a little bit over $1,000, probably $1,100. And that makes sense. Our bottom's at $87, so it'll probably be actually slightly below that. If I can, something like that. I guess it was an 1100%, not a 1000%. Okay, so it'll be probably a little bit. There we go, a little bit below $1,100. And is that where this tops ultimately? I don't think so. I really don't think so. What's a 2000% move look like? 2000%. 2000% isn't even that far above where we are here. So we genuinely might be shaping up for the biggest gain that Bitcoin Cash has ever seen from a low to high in its cycle period ever, in a bull cycle. And I think I really like that, because if you type in BCH BTC, you look at the chart here, we are doing things. We bounced. We literally have held this area, the 1618, as support on a monthly and a weekly basis. We are above the purple line, the 123 MA. Might even be finding support on it. Might be. I bet we go below it, but we've never been above this line before. We're showing signs of strength versus Bitcoin that we've never seen before, is on the RSI at least, on the weekly and on the monthly versus Bitcoin. We've never seen this. On a chart that's only gone down, where it's starting to show signs that it might start to go up. We formed our first price that got us above the purple line. Could we be forming our first move that is like a macro higher high? Like you've got your high here, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Could this end up being the first higher high? I think it is. I think it could. I think it will be inevitably. Go to BCH USD again on Coinbase. Do I think that we could have the biggest move from bottom to top in Bitcoin Cash's history? With all that being said, I think so. I think it's totally possible. Do I think we're going to have the smallest move in Bitcoin Cash's history? I think that's unlikely. I do think that's unlikely. Now, how long did it take for these moves to take place? Again, this was the very first kind of move that we had. So this taking place this fast, this was at the end of the bull market, mind you, 2017. So this was the end. If we started the bull market back in 2017, like in the beginning of it, which it doesn't show over here, but it would have taken longer to form this top, is what I'm getting at. But for now, technically 4 bars. Okay, from the bottom to top here, that took 6 bars, and then from here, from bottom to top, you got 14 bars. They're getting a little bit longer, and that makes sense. This was kind of the end of the bear market. The bull market started back over here, and this was Bitcoin Cash, in my opinion, from this low to this high. This was actually like the first bull market that Bitcoin Cash as its own blockchain existed. So I like this 14 bar kind of thing as an expected range. Like a year to a little bit over a year, maybe even a year and a half that it takes from low to high to get your high for the cycle. 4 bars, I don't know about that. We've already, I guess, from low to high, it's been 7 bars already. We're here from low. I wonder where we were at 7 bars. Here, I'm gonna move it up a little bit, but at 7 bars, we were still in this sideways range, right? By the 7th bar, we just broke out of it. It's kind of comparable. We have a lot bigger of a move here than we did here. It was similar to this. I don't know. Could we in 4 bars? Could we in 4 candles move up 2,000% from? I guess it would be from this low. This has already been more than 4 candles. So from this low, could we move up over 2,000% in 4 candles? Maybe. I don't know if I think that's going to happen. We're not at the end of the bull market like we were back here. We're at the beginnings of it, right? This is when things pump, and then they consolidate and give time for accumulation. Then you move up more. But 2,000 would be slightly above this high here. I don't think we stop once we get slightly above this high. In fact, I would expect we keep going. Overall, generally, I already told you my expectation for this market, for the next bull market. I think we're going to see $13,000, and that's an insane gain, man. That's like 150x right there. Basically, that's insane. From low to high, that kind of gain is no longer possible at the moment. You can hope for like a 47x at the current price. If we were to go back to like 180 or lower, which is what I'm expecting, you could see a 73x. If you go to 140 something, you could see 100x, about 100x, just under that, a 90x, whatever. And that's totally possible. If not, at least like a 40 something x, right? Is that what I said? Yeah, 48x, something like that. And that's at a minimum. Again, man. If we were to buy at the current price and this thing went to its 1414, well, now you've got an 80%. Now you doubled that, right? And if it went to the 1618, you've got an almost 200% move. So there's a lot of potential upside that's just crazy from here. But again, where does it top, and how long does it take to do that? Well, let's see. Let's see if we go from here again, from here to top, because this is like the first real like bull market that it experienced. It's not a lot to go off of, but it's what we got. From this low here to the top, 14 bars, that would actually put us in January of next year. Do I think, or do you think, do any of us think that it's going to top at this time? I don't think so. I think it's going to be sometime probably late 2024, early 2025, maybe even late 2025. Which if we go from really this low here to that's 29 bars. This kind of lines up, right? That would kind of line up beginning of 2025. Maybe it's not that long. Maybe it's even less than that, end of 2024. But something like that probably. And most of these moves, right, when it took place from bottom here to this top, that took 6 bars to take place. We moved sideways, we moved down for a long time after that. We even, once we had the low here, we still moved sideways for another 7 bars. But once we had our first like green bar that was starting to send us up, we moved from bottom, or from the start here, it took us 7 bars to move up. So it does take time, whether it's 5 months, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 7 months, it does take time, but it moves pretty quickly, relatively speaking. And in the midst of that, we'll have probably some sideways action. So do I think Bitcoin Cash at the moment is just going to go straight up to 13K from here? I don't think so. Do I think that by the end of the year we'll even be above the 618? I don't know. It's possible. Ah, man, at the moment, I know, guys. I know. I'm just talking. I don't know. This is all guesstimating here, man. At the moment, let's see here. Again, just one more thing real quick. Those 4 bars, you get this one here, 4 bars would be by the end of this year. Could we see a move that takes us above this high, which is even above $1,000, or even above this high daily high close or monthly high close? We could, man. We really could. It's totally possible. I'm not expecting that personally. I don't know if it has that kind of growth that quickly in it. Maybe it does. I don't know. I really don't know. All that to say, I don't know, man. It is possible. It is totally possible that we could see a price above $1,000 by the end of the year. But this 618 here at 534, which is around the highs here, I would expect that we find resistance on it. And being on a monthly time frame, maybe in 2 or 3 months, maybe even this month, we come up here. But I would kind of expect that we would see something like this before breaking out higher. And that will take time. That could take the rest of this year to do something like that. And the bull market itself doesn't really kick off until we get closer to the halving. We find our lows a year before the halving traditionally, around a year before the halving, and then as the halving approaches, we kind of lull for a couple months, with Bitcoin at least, and then we pump afterwards. Then we have a nice pump afterwards. And the halving for Bitcoin isn't until April, May, or February, March, something like that of 2024. So we're not really even in kickoff mode yet. This is just the early rumbling. So I don't know if we actually get above 1,000 by the end of this year. It is possible. It definitely is possible. It's moved like that before. It could happen. But I don't know, man. I think this 618 might be significant, and even then, you got the 69 and the 786 as significance too, and those are all below $1,000. So I really don't know, man. That's a hard one to say. I think it's really hard to know where it's going to be by the end of the year. But if I had to put my money on it, I would think probably below $900, probably above $600 by the end of the year. Above 500, below 900. Maybe we don't get above 600, but above 500 probably. But at the same time, man, it's completely possible. It is completely possible that we break this high up here by the end of the year. It's completely possible. Regardless, though, to tie it all back to what I was saying earlier, regardless of where we are by the end of the year, you know, somewhere around here, wherever. It's not going to be the end of the move. The move is going to persist higher. It's going to go higher, man. Higher than this even. This is at $10,000. We're going to go higher than that. This is going to turn out to be, in my opinion, what is going to be a big fat W. W for victory, man. It's really what it really is, because it is for victory. You've got a V here and a V here. It's a double V, double victory time, and we're going to see that. I think ultimately that's what we're going to see. So I don't know. I kind of rambled at the end there. I hope I didn't lose too many people. If I did, I don't blame you. If you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to see more. You know, I started it with some very like technical stuff and very like statistically. I guess it was all statistically backed, but this stuff at the end, guessing where it's going to be at the end of the year, it's a little bit out of my like realm of comfort, because there's a lot of things that can happen in the time frame, man. I could make a guess as to where it would be by the end of the month. I'd feel safer about that, but like, I mean, by the end of the month, I would expect that we're probably going to take out this high. Probably. In fact, I would say that this month will probably close green. If it doesn't close green, we're going to have a massive wick to it's going to be something like this, right? Where at least half of it is a wick. That's my expectation. I think it's going to be a good month. We will come down probably this month, probably a good bit of a ways, but I would bet that by the end of the month, we're going to have a strong close. And I feel more comfortable making that prediction than I do making a prediction that's months out. You know, that's just a lot can happen in there. And yeah, I don't know, man. Other than saying man a bunch at the end of this video, I hope everybody has a great day. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.